We are just 2 days away from Notre Dame at Texas A&M. And to break down the game from a Nationals perspective, we have on three's JD PicKell, who does a fantastic job as a national talking head covering all things college football for the On Three YouTube channel. JD, I trust that you're doing well, my friend. It's week one, so I know you're hyped. I want to talk about this game from your angle, the national vibes, the importance of this game from the college football landscape. JD, what do you think right now?
There's a lot that goes into this. And this is one of those games, too, that I don't know if you feel this way, Mike, but of all the matchups we have this week, from Miami and Florida and Georgia and Clemson and LSU USC on Sunday night, like this is the game where I could really see it going either way. I think that spread is about right with it being a field goal game. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to give away my pick right now, but I won't even touch that. It's going to be close. I'm excited for it. Excited to see what Marcus Freeman is in year 3 with this kind of revamped roster and with the adult defense and the new quarterback. Like, there's so many storylines if you're a Notre Dame fan. It's going to be a good time, man. I can't wait.
I know you're pretty excited about one Notre Dame player in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremiah Love. Oh, yeah. You've talked about him a bunch. What's your outlook on this Notre Dame team? Where did you have them in your personal top 10? How good do you think they're going to be? And then, I don't know, what do you expect from Notre Dame against Texas A&M?
Yeah, I think they're probably in that top 10 to fringe top 10 range as of right now. The reason why I say that is, as much as I love Riley Leonard, I don't know how much I'm supposed to trust him just yet. Because at Duke, there were moments where it's like, hey, this guy's got a red cape with an S on his chest. Like he can do no wrong. There's other moments where you're like, golly, I'd love to see a little bit more consistency through the air. So you take that sample size and you factor in the context of, well, he is throwing, to no disrespect to Duke, but receivers that are at Duke. He's going to have a lot more playmakers around him at Notre Dame. He's got a better offensive coordinator than he's ever had. So all those things combined to say, I think Riley Leonard could be in for a pretty special season if he's able to be consistent because of all those things I just mentioned. This Notre Dame team, though, I'm sure you feel the same way, Mike. This is the do something year. You're in year 3. You went out and got the best offensive coordinator last year from LSU and Mike Denbrock. You upped the score, trying to get another quarterback and Riley Leonard via the portal. You got more speed on the perimeter. I think they have something crazy, Mike. You probably have a better gauge on this than me, but I counted 6 or 7 graduates on the defense. Not like seniors. Like, these dudes are out here getting their second degree, which having an adult defense always a good thing, especially in a big situation. So this is the year where it's college football playoff or bust, and probably more than that is on their mind in South Bend.
Did I have you mention Jeremiah Love? Did you talk about Jeremiah Love?
Jeremiah Love, I don't think I even touched on him, man. It's gonna be dynamite. I think he is a name that Notre Dame fans know, but the rest of the college football public isn't familiar with just yet. To me, in this game, he is the matchup breaker. And what I mean by that is, I think with the speed Notre Dame has on the perimeter, they're going to have a couple of chances to try and push it deep. And when A&M tries to honor that, you just dump it down to Jeremiah Love, or you run it underneath in a draw or inside zone, just get him the ball in space and let him work. I think he's going to have a massive day and ultimately be a huge difference maker in this game.
Okay. And then what do Notre Dame fans need to know about Texas A&M?
I think for A&M, there's a couple of there's a couple of ways to approach it. The talking point with them, it feels like, for the last 5 years has been really talented roster. Can they put it together? Really talented roster. They have the right guy behind, the whole operation making it go. I think with Mike Elko now, I've said this before, I think he brings a lot of what they were lacking when it comes to structure and toughness and culture. Does that show up in game 1? You feel better about it showing up in game 1 when you're at home. The thing with A&M, too, is they are down one of their top guys in that backfield. Ruben Owens is done for the year. That'll obviously be something that A&M misses. They're still stacked, though, with Le'Veon Moss and Daniels, 2 guys that'll get downhill. I think for A&M, the thing that I'm looking at for them to be successful in this game offensively is, okay, can you settle in with Connor Wegman? Because as talented as I think he is, this is going to be the biggest spot of his entire career. And so they're going to ask him, I believe, to have to make some throws against this really talented Notre Dame secondary, which, depending on how you feel about that matchup, I think determines how you feel about this game.
Okay. Now, JD, anytime there's a national guy from On Three, or just any discussion about a national guy on our loose emoji message board, there's not a good warm hug that goes along with that.
Sure.
except for your prediction for this game.
Yes.
I mean, there was a thread. People were loving it on Wednesday because you had a really good breakdown of this game for the On3 National YouTube channel. Make sure to leave that in the pinned comments of this video so people can check that out because there's some really good stuff. You have Notre Dame winning this game and going over the total as well. I like the under. You like Notre Dame. What was it, 27-24, JD?
27-24 is what I got it at. Yep.
Tell me about it.
The more that I look at this, I understand the desire to pick the home team and to pick, a pretty talented roster in A&M and all that. But for me, I'm just like, for all the things that we led with in this segment, with it's year 3 for Marcus Freeman, they've got a really mature defense. They've got all these skill players now, both through the portal and guys that they have recruited, from a Jeremiah Love we spoke to a Jaden Greathouse. Like, I think there's so much talent on this roster and so much maturity to where I don't think that this defense is going to be overwhelmed by Kyle Field. I think Riley Leonard being able to, move the pocket with him is going to be huge for them to have success in this game. And everyone seems to be talking a lot about, well, hey, Jagusah's not playing, he's done for the year. How does that impact Notre Dame with this young offensive line? And well, I think that's a valid question and concern. The question I have is okay, well, what's Mike Denbrock going to be doing to scheme around it? Because he's not stupid. He's not just going to run into a weakness of his football team. And so all those things factoring together with, I think, A&M in their first year under new coach, what they are in this game is not what they're going to be in October and November. So I like the experience, I like the talent, and I like the maturity of this Notre Dame team to ultimately win out in a close one. And I think this Notre Dame offense will be the highlight for a lot of folks coming away from week 1 of the college football season.
Yeah, I'll be picking Notre Dame too in a video that we'll be dropping on Friday, but I'm nervous. You just said this team's going to look, for A&M, it's going to look different now than it is at the end of the year, which is exactly what makes me nervous. And that game 1, man, you got no idea. A&M's strength on their D-line is going up against a question mark of Notre Dame's O-line. You mentioned the Denbrock factor. That does make you feel a little bit better, right? That you have someone who can, help in that situation, right? Scheme to help Notre Dame's O-line there. But just on the road, new pieces, literally every position pretty much. I mean, new quarterback, new receivers, the O-line's returns 6 starts. No Audric Estime. Mitch Evans is back, but I'm nervous. Yeah. I'm nervous, JD. But you're making me feel a little bit better.
It is truly one of those games that when I was speaking to the spread earlier, you could see it going either way. If Riley Leonard comes out there and isn't consistent and there's growing pains with this, all these new pieces you mentioned offensively, that wouldn't be overwhelmingly surprising. I keep going back to the maturity on defense. And I think if you were to put, these secondary pieces from an Xavier Watts to a Benjamin Morrison, you go down the line here, if you force them to play man coverage, I think you feel okay about that if you're Notre Dame. And that's not to say anything of A&M's wide receiving core. I just think that Notre Dame can hold it down on the back end and afford themselves to play a little more, up in that box to kind of make things difficult on Connor Wegman. I don't think Connor Wegman can throw against this Notre Dame secondary all the way to a victory. If it happens, I'll sit here on Sunday morning and say I was wrong. But to me, I have a hard time making that bet.
Yeah. You've mentioned how Notre Dame when you have guys on your defense that can legally go to a bar and drink, they got some real grown-ups in the room. And I was thinking back to last fall, talking to a source about what this year's team would be. And the source is like, it's gonna be a rebuilding year because they did not expect to get Cross back, Mills back. Cross, Mills, Watts. You get Ben Morrison. Obviously he's just going to his junior year, but sure. You return some of these guys, and this went from a rebuilding year defensively, I should add, to they reloaded on offense, they reloaded a bit on defense, bringing in RJ Oben from Duke. This could be a really interesting year, and then so much of the offseason discourse, at least on my YouTube channel, JD. We talk about so many things when it comes to Notre Dame. We just Haven't really with Riley Leonard. I have no idea what to expect from Riley Leonard on Saturday.
Yeah, fair.
I feel like,
yeah,
JD, just real quick, we talked so much about Sam Hartman, the
Yeah.
pretty locks and everything. I feel like we just haven't given our due to Riley Leonard. I'm really interested to see what he looks like. I have no expectations. I'm fascinated to see how he looks on Saturday.
And in some ways, that's almost like telling of the fact that we're not talking as much about Riley Leonard, and he's one of the most high-profile transfer quarterbacks, because there is so many other things to be excited about with Notre Dame. We mentioned the defense, mentioned the other portal pieces. We mentioned, the new offensive coordinator. Like, all those things, I think, in some ways make you feel a little bit more at ease of like, okay, Riley Leonard doesn't have to be the guy from the jump. You'd like him to be the guy from the jump. You'd like him to have more than enough to be able to win this football game in College Station. But like, if he's not playing at an All-American level right away, there's some answers for Notre Dame to still be able to take care of business and win some football games early. So I'm with you. I don't know exactly what we're getting. The obvious is, he's got a lot of physical tools, and I think the mobility element too probably excites you a bit in this Denbrock offense, with him being able to just run for like 50 plus yards if that's the way that you have to get it done. So a lot to be excited about. It's a good time to be a Notre Dame fan.
Folks, great time to hit the thumbs up on this video. Go ahead and do that now if you have not done so yet. Subscribe to our channel for more content. And as always, we will catch you guys next time.